John, I do have a better mustache. Thank you.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. We are here at John's Heroes Bar, and we are drinking some beer, and we are discussing
Cop shit.
retirement and how once you retire, you're kind of forgotten, and it kind of sucks. So we're going to kind of go into all of that and talk about it tonight. It's a very hot topic on Facebook, on a couple of the pages that I manage, and I just wanted to touch base on it. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right. We don't have a beer moment because this is going to be a real short episode.
A mini soda, if you will.
It is going to be a mini-sode.
And if we drank soda, it would be a mini soda.
But hey, there you go.
So yeah,
what I wanted to talk about-
these are usually put between the two bigger shows.
So what I want to talk about tonight was retirement. And we, the name of our show is Surviving the Badge, obviously. And part of that is after you retire, after you get out of the job, you have to survive afterwards, whether you get a job, whether you, just fully retired, whatever you're going to do. But one of the biggest topics that I see on a couple of the Facebook pages that I manage, and most of them are law enforcement Facebook pages, is guys are forgotten. You do 20, 25, 30, in my case 35 years, and everybody wanted something when you were working. They call you all the time. Hey, you want to go have a beer? You want to go do this? You want to go hang out? You want to whatever? Especially if you're a supervisor like I was. Everybody's calling you because they wanted to be your buddy because you're the supervisor. Then once you retire, you're forgotten. Nobody calls.
It's funny you say that because I remember we would play golf when you were still on the job, and every 3 minutes it was either somebody who was actually working or off or anything, and you're like, dude, it's your turn. It's your tee. Now, crickets.
Yeah, crickets. And
it's like Sean, he's always, because, he's still on the job, and he's still always, taking calls.
Part of it's nice because you don't have the interruptions, you don't have the pain in the ass calls and this and that. But, it sure would be nice if a couple of the retired, or the guys that were still on the job would call you and say, hey, LT, what's happening? How you been, man? How's everything going? No, and I get it. They're going on with their own lives. They have shit going on and everything else, out of sight, out of mind. But we need to change that culture, and this is part of what this show is about, is changing that culture. If you're still on the job and you're still doing the job and you're still out there, call those retired guys that you were partners with and that you relied on for information or just to talk with.
Well, let me interject here.
Absolutely.
I was retired about a year. I hadn't talked to this officer in, basically a year. But it was probably one of the best moments I had law enforcement related since I retired, because I was always the case law guru, and I had a lot of experience and could explain how case law affected things and all that stuff. And this officer called me for a recent Supreme Court decision and said, how is this going to affect us doing our job? And
those are great moments. And
I was like, I still matter.
Right.
I'm still a part of this.
Would it have been better if he had called you and say, hey, John,
well, how
you doing, man?
Let's go have a beer.
Let's go have a beer.
It was a Facebook post and all that stuff, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. But it was like, we're still relevant.
Right.
We still have a part in this.
Yeah.
And here's
adding on that, wisdom is still there. The wisdom is still there, and unfortunately, a lot of newer, and we probably did exactly the same thing. We did not appreciate pure wisdom when we experienced it.
But you know what? When I retired, when I was still on the job, I called some of the guys that were retired. I hung out with the guys that were retired. One of them was my dad. I would call him constantly, hey, well, what would you do in this situation? I called Jimmy McDonald, good friend of mine. I called him, hey, Jimmy, what do you think about this? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this. I called several people and just kept in touch with them. Hey, let's go have a beer. Let's go do this. the whole culture has changed. And here's the other point that I want to bring up. Several people have mentioned this. You work for a place for 20 goddamn years, and you leave because of medical, because of whatever. You just say,
you
screw
give your
this,
blood, sweat, and tears.
I'm out. And the department, because you left under unfavorable conditions, you weren't fired or anything else. You had a medical condition that you sued the department over, or you left because, you just couldn't take the bullshit anymore and you walked out and you left. They're refusing to give retired ID cards to these officers when they retire. That's bullshit.
Now, is there a statute on that, or is that just
I think it's
a departmental
policy,
thing?
Department policy, I think.
Yeah, that's petty. That's if you have a legitimate retirement, you should get your retired
But here's
ID.
the problem, and I agree. And here's the problem: if an officer that retires, and I'm talking about lawfully retires, under all the good whatever, retires, they have to have a retired ID card in order to get the concealed retired officer's status, where they can carry a weapon anywhere in the 50 states of the United States concealed. They have to have a retired ID card. They can have all the bullshit certificates they want and records of how long they worked there, but unless they either have a letter or a retired ID card that says they are a retired law enforcement officer, they cannot get that certification, and that's where they're screwing over a lot of these cops.
So they're playing a game of petty. Now,
that's exactly what it is.
If you wanted to pursue that, would you have grounds for a lawsuit?
I don't
John,
know.
You're the case law guru.
Well, I do think you do have grounds for a lawsuit as long as you meet the technical definition of retired based on your agency's policy of what a retirement
You could
means.
force them, and it might just take a letter from an attorney.
Listen,
They might just want to avoid any lawsuit.
Absolutely.
If
Oh,
you send a letter to the agency saying, "Hey, you're in violation of this
I
policy
mean, all
by
these
not."
standards of retirement, therefore, I'm entitled to.
You give your lifeblood. You give everything you got. I mean, all of us have sacrificed time. We've sacrificed family. We've sacrificed
blood, sweat, and
marriages.
tears.
We've sacrificed everything. And then for an agency to turn around and just piss on you like that, that's just shitty.
A good friend of mine and a good friend of the show's, Mark Kovacs. God bless you as you're going through everything you're going through, Mark. We got your back, man. If you need anything, all you got to do is call us. But he's a retired police officer. He also served in the military 20 years as a reservist and active duty. Thank you for your service, Mark. He said that we should form a bill and take it before Congress where it creates a clearinghouse for retired police officers. And this clearinghouse would send a letter to your agency and say, did this officer retire in good standing? And they have to respond. By law, they have to respond and show, if they say no, they have to show cause or whatever. And that would create a clearinghouse where these officers can get these retired ID cards, get these letters of retirement, so that they can get these certifications and get whatever benefits are due them. It's long past. It needs to happen like now. Mark, the show totally supports that effort. And if you need help writing letters, emails, whatever you need, I personally would love to become involved in that. Just let us know.
Now, I wonder if there are, we got large agencies like NYPD and Chicago PD, and they probably have, retired officers groups and stuff like that who do that kind of thing. It seems like Florida really doesn't, that I know of, have that kind of brotherhood.
Most of your states have a union, and a strong union, and that union will take care of that stuff for you. Unfortunately, Florida is a non-binding arbitration state, and the unions here suck. I was a member of the union for many years and a member of the PBA, the FOP, everything else. All they would do is support you if you were involved in something legally, but it had nothing to do with stuff like this.
Yeah, but if you gathered, let's say just in Central Florida, if you had a Central Florida Retired Officers Association, you would have some pull with the state of Florida. You could rally, and not only
That's a
that,
very
you
good point.
You could support each other.
Why don't we make one of those?
Let's go for it.
Florida Retired.
Central Florida Retired
No,
Officers.
not Central. Florida.
Okay.
Florida Retired Officers Association.
Yeah.
I love it. That would be freaking remarkable.
You've got all those people, all those just know-how.
And they could help these cops with their benefits, with their retirement benefits, and help them with some advice on what they need to do as they're retiring. Because a lot of cops, if it wasn't for John telling them you need to invest in the 457 when they first came on, they wouldn't have had a secondary income other than a shitty retirement that we got.
And not only that, you've got, and we all know this, Mark DeBono, right?
Yeah.
Has talked about police officer suicides.
Absolutely.
We could have the best support team in the entire area. We all need to support each other.
But
we all have demons. We've all seen the shit that
that's
we
another
won't
good point
talk
that you're
about.
bringing up. I think the average lifespan of a retired officer is 5 years.
Yeah, I thought it was 8, but it's extremely short. Very short.
So I mean, you're 5 years after retirement, you're dead.
Yeah. And we need that support.
And that's another thing. If you guys are sitting around, you've retired and you're sitting around on the couch and you're drinking beer, you're drinking beer and you're eating Doritos and you're watching football and you're not exercising and you're not getting out there and doing what you need to do. Hey, John's lost 100 pounds. Camille's lost 40 pounds. I've lost 75 pounds and I'm going to the gym every day.
So, what do you do for a living?
I lift things up and put them down.
Excuse me?
I lift things up and put them down.
I'm telling you, if you guys are not doing something for your health, your heart had enough stress during the job. Get out there, exercise, eat right, get that heart growing so that you can be around for your grandchildren.
And find something to live for. Find a hobby. Find a group. Contact us. We'll go out and hang out with you. We don't.
If you're in the Central Florida area.
Yeah. I don't know. John said he would support a road trip outside of Florida. We'll jump in John's truck and go somewhere.
I don't remember him saying that. Camille's talking out of his ass.
Camille lies a lot.
Is there a cigar bet on that? Because he always loses. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to bet on that?
We really want to support you because the saddest thing is an officer taking his own life, and if we can do anything, absolutely anything, to prevent that, we want to do that.
And guys, there are laws in place to cover your pension that take care of what they can and can't do in your pension. There's laws in place on a bunch of different things, but there's no law in place that says they must give you a retired ID card. If you're having problems with your agencies not doing that, please contact the show via email, retiredcopsrule@gmail.com.
Because they do.
Leave us a comment on the bottom down below, and we will attempt to contact your agency. Hey, you know what? Sometimes all it takes is a voice from an outside. We'll let them know that we're some freaking, YouTube channel that has 1 million followers or whatever it takes.
I think that's about right.
Try and sway the vote your way.
Give or take.
Yeah, however we can help you out. However we can help you out, guys. We are here for you. We appreciate all the service that you gave to your communities and everything that you did for your communities. Thank you very much. Anybody got anything else real quick?
Nope.
Here at Surviving the Badge?
Nope. So at the end here, we wanted to talk a little bit about football.
Football.
I am a Bears fan, Chicago Bears.
Sorry.
John is a New York Giants fan.
Woo! Go Giants!
Camille is a Washington
Commanders,
Red Commanders. Or Commander Skins.
Commander Skins.
You know, he
fan.
still goes by Redskins.
Washington football team. That's what I like to refer to it as.
We are going to make a bet. Right now on the air, we are going to make a bet.
Which I will finally win.
Not
No.
whoever's team finishes with the best overall record at the end of the NFL season for this season wins a cigar from the other two on the show.
Well, the
Plain
good
and
thing
simple.
is, the good thing is, because they're all in the NFC.
Yeah.
You know,
It's easy
it's
to
like
figure
it'll be
out.
out pretty
It
quick.
won't be as high.
But the thing is, if you make the playoffs, you know, because conceivably, you know, you and I can't have this problem because we're both in the NFC
Right.
East.
We will not be facing each other in the Super Bowl.
So, but we could have the same record
right.
at the end of the season and both make the playoffs. He could have a less record. You know, we could be 9-9, and he could be 7-10. Or the Bears
And
could
make
be
the playoffs,
and make
win in the playoffs, and go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
But so we're betting on most wins.
Okay.
Let's do
No,
that.
I
No,
say
no.
whoever makes it the farthest and the best record. So the best record, and then the secondary qualifier would be whoever makes it the furthest into the playoffs or the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And either
That's
wins
fair.
the Super Bowl. So if I'm 7-10, they're 9-9, but I make it all the way to the damn Super Bowl or to the second round of the playoffs.
You made it fun.
I win.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Which is not going to happen because Redskins
I know.
all the way.
I know.
So I'll just say, you know, I mean, whatever the final ranking is, in, you know, basically whoever gets the highest draft pick, because the draft pick is
Stop. Just stop.
Because you
just
can
stop.
trade
Just-
and everything
no,
else.
no,
I know
no,
what
no,
you're
no,
saying.
no, no. But the highest
You
draft
just
pick.
ruined it, John.
So yeah, whoever makes it the furthest or the best record, that would be the qualifier.
It's easy to figure out.
Yeah,
It'll be easy.
absolutely. Whoever had the
Because
best
the
damn
Redskins
season.
are going to even have a better season than the 1972 Dolphins.
Danny Dimes.
Negative. They'd have to be undefeated.
Let's go, Danny
All
Dimes.
All right,
There we go.
guys.
At surviving the badge,
We still got your
got your
six.
Salute.